One of the men listed on official state documents as a manager and officer of Springview Medical Clinic says he's working day and night to help the clients of the now closed business.
We tracked down Robbie Duncan after our first reports on the Metairie Clinic to find out if he has a plan to help the dozens of men who say they're still being billed thousands of dollars and not receiving treatment. Here's our latest Fox 8 Defenders investigation. Week after week, we receive more calls from men in the New Orleans area, former patients of Springview Medical Clinic. The Louisiana Attorney General's office is also getting calls. It's now got 23 consumer complaints filed against Springview, the now closed clinic that said it treated men for erectile dysfunction.
We now have a major medical breakthrough.
After our first reports, we tracked down Robbie Duncan. He's listed on the Louisiana Secretary of State's website as an officer and manager of Springview. A spokesman for the Secretary of State says Duncan's title on the paperwork generally conveys ownership. In a text exchange, we asked Duncan if he'd be willing to talk to us about Springview. He replied, "We are aware of the situation at Springview Medical Clinic due to unexpected and unwanted circumstances. We are working diligently day and night to help our clients get treated and taken care of." We wanted to know if there's a plan in place to help the men who've reached out to us, saying they still receive bills for thousands of dollars for treatment they're no longer receiving, like this man who we interviewed in August.
So as of right now, you still owe $4,600.
Correct.
In November of next year.
Correct.
Duncan simply responded, "We are working very diligently to help ensure these men receive the services they have paid for." We asked, does that mean Springview is reopening? The clinic closed abruptly in June, with simply a note placed on the door alerting its patients. Duncan's response, "We are pursuing all options that will enable us to help the client." In our reporting, we found more than 40 other clinics across the country with ties to Springview, many of them now closed. We also uncovered more than 75 consumer complaints filed with attorneys general across the country, from men complaining about those clinics. The complaints we've read are similar to those of men in the New Orleans area. The men say they didn't see any results from the treatment. The clinics closed, yet they're still being billed. So we asked Duncan, when he said they're pursuing options to help the client, if that is also the case for the other now closed clinics across the country. He stated, "Again, we are working day and night to help our clients get taken care of." Duncan wouldn't respond when we requested an interview with him. For the men we've already spoken to, they say they want answers, need help, as they're faced with mounting bills.
It's time to get your love life back.
While getting nothing in return.
The Louisiana Attorney General's office is working with partners in other states where complaints were filed against the clinics. The end goal would be to file litigation against the owners to try to get restitution for the patients. If you've got a consumer complaint, call the Fox 8 Defenders, staffed with volunteers from the National Council of Jewish Women, or fill out our online complaint form.